Hey, guys. Um, this is super cool. I've never gone live before. Um, and yeah, this is interesting. So I was just thinking of just 1 second. So the topic, and this is more for me than for anyone else, but I do hope that you get encouraged by listening to this. So I have been a creator for a very long time. Honestly, I started in 2015. That was the first time my wife bought me my first camera. Um, Not exactly this one, but that was the first time I got a hold of a camera. And yeah, looking back, it's been an amazing journey. I started out as a nurse, been still have my license, but I was a nurse for over 10 years. I think it's gonna be, yeah, 12 years. Yeah, 12 years. Um, but at the same time, I was fascinated by the idea of creating. And so I have been creating for a while and just wanted to reflect on how fast I have come. But at the same time, just to encourage myself and encourage somebody out there to keep doing what God has called you to do. I think part of that overwhelming feeling of feeling lost comes from a place of not creating. It fascinates me that in the book of Genesis, the first thing that is mentioned in the first verse of the Bible, that it was in the beginning God created. And we all know that we've been created in the image and the likeness of God. And so just knowing that his first intention in the beginning was to create tells me that if I'm not creating, I will feel empty. And so what happens is, and the emptiness comes from over consuming and not understanding that you have a big role in creating something and contributing to the world. He says the first mandate, I think it's Genesis 1, I don't know if it's 27, 28, I can't remember. And he says, his first command was like, actually, let me not butcher it. Let me find it. Genesis 1, verse 27. This is what he did after he created man. He told him to be fruitful and to multiply. Fruitful and multiply. Let's go to Genesis 1, verse, I want to say 27. Human being. Yes, 28. So I'll start with 27. So God created. He's always been a creator. Um, and he's called us to create. And he says God created human beings in his own image. And in the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Vine studio. You feeling me? John 15:8. Fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the fish in the sea and birds in the sky and all the animals that scurry along the ground. And so your role is to make sure that you are being fruitful and you're multiplying. So what are you being fruitful? What are you multiplying? I guess that's a question. What are you multiplying? Because once you create, there is a mandate to multiply. And I just want to encourage someone that might be, consider this, might be the reason why you feel the way you're feeling right now, that emptiness is because you stopped creating. And you don't have to create content, but you have to create something. You have to bring value to the world. You have to start that business scared. You have to do that thing that God has called you, like launch that album and write that book and be a blessing, start that community and start that YouTube channel, show up live, open that Instagram and start posting what God has put in you. Because we have been called to create. And so the question then comes, what am I supposed to create? Because oftentimes people want to create, but they don't know what to create. And I have been on that path for a long time. Um, and somebody freed me when they say that you the only way to figure out, 'cause I don't think you can fully arrive at that place of exactly knowing everything. And I think it's by design so that we can continue to rely on God. I believe that it's through motion, it's through trying that you get to one, know what you don't want to create, and two, kind of fall in love with even things that you would never have thought would even be a blessing to you. So if you asked me, I would have told you like photography is it, and then COVID happened. But then I was doing wedding photography, just family photography, just whatever photography, like nature, everything. I did everything in terms of photography. Then COVID hit, and there were no more weddings, and people were indoor. And I was like, okay, I need to pick up another skill. And so when I was doing photography, I noticed that some of the clients that would book photography sessions were businessmen and businesswomen, and they were using those pictures for something. So I figured out, ah, they're taking pictures so that they can use them for their website, so that they can run ads, so that they can create social media content. So those pictures are not your typical pictures. They have so much value because they're communicating something. And so I was like, there's something called brand photography, which pays way more because it involves more. It's not just taking pictures. You're like, who is my target audience and how can I portray or position myself in a way that when my customer or my avatar sees me, they'll be like, that's the person that will help me. And you can convey that with an image. Images are so powerful, they speak so many words. And so I started learning about curating an experience by just looking at a picture. So I'll give you an example. If you are a weight loss coach, I am thinking of the colors. I'm thinking of your outfit. I'm thinking of the location. I'm thinking of your expression. I'm thinking of how can I best position you as a key person or an authority figure in that space. I'm thinking of the angle. I'm not shooting you top down. I'm shooting you bottom up so that when they see that picture, they see this person of authority. And so there's so much involved in that, you know. Maybe you're helping people lose weight online. So I'm thinking of like, oh, you're probably like seated on a desk like this, and you're probably there's somebody on the other side, and I'm trying to capture you coaching them. And so I'm thinking of those pictures. So you end up becoming very valuable in that space. And so I got into that. I still do that and I love it. I love that creative process, even more than just taking the picture, just creating that whole entire process, doing the research, figuring out what colors your customer should wear, the positioning, the environment, the feeling, the experience, because that is what will convert the most. And so I got into that. I still do that, and I love it. Brand photography is by far the best. Uh, but then I was like, okay, these brand pictures are going somewhere. Where are they going? They're going to a website. I was like, okay, let me learn how to make websites. So I taught myself how to make websites. And then I realized, oh, there's a shift. People are moving away from websites into things that are called funnels. I'm like, what is a funnel? I was like, a funnel is like a path, just the same way a funnel is. Once you step in, it guides you into the next thing. And I'm sure you've been into those funnels where you register something for free, you get a freebie, and then they tell you like, "Hey, your freebie is on its way to your inbox, but before you go, um, don't click away from this page because you're going to lose some very important information." All right. So you sit there and you're like, "Oh, okay. You remember that freebie that I gave you? It's powerful by itself, but it needs to pair up with this other thing for it to be effective." It's like, oh, okay. And it makes sense. Like, you need this to be able to use that. And it's by design. And you're like, yeah, okay. How much is it? It's $10 or $17. And so the question was like, why wasn't this on the front end? And it's because they understand that you probably don't know them. And the barrier of entry for free stuff is very low. But I've gained trust. I've given you something. It's in your inbox. And now this other thing is needed to be able to use that free thing that I gave you. And so now you're stuck. And you're like, it's only $7. And so you get it. Once you get it, they're like, hey, you can do this by yourself, or we can come and do it with you. And you're like, oh, this would be so cool. And then you'll be like, no, I don't want this. So you click, no, I don't want this. And then it says, oh, guess what? We can do it all for you. We can start this business for you. We can set up the website. We can do all these things for you. You don't even have to touch a finger. And you're like, for the first time, I can start a business. And these guys are willing to give me a head start. And so what do? You decide, let me go check them online and figure out who are these guys. And the reason why you do that is because you're trying to gain trust. You're going to go check their reviews. You're going to make sure that they're really legit people. And so you go check out some few YouTube videos. Yeah, some positive reviews. There's a few people who are like, nah, these guys are a scam. But there's something there, yeah? And then you go to their Instagram and you're like, okay, they're running some ads. There's some free value there, some content. And you're like, you know what? It's only $50 or $97. So I was like, let me give it a chance. It's something that I've been very interested in. Let me work with them. And you click. And that is what a funnel is. And I was like, this is amazing. You can actually guide people into making a decision. And so before I knew it, I realized that I need copywriting skills and marketing frameworks and strategies to be able to create these funnels. So it came from website into funnels, into marketing and creating copy. And before I knew it, I was like, how is this whole entire thing working? Is there somebody like on the back end, like sending emails and messages? And I was like, no, it's all on automations. Like, what are automations? It's like, oh, it's when you do this, it triggers something on the back side of the system and a response happen. And when you respond, it triggers something else. And everything on the back end is all automated. There's nobody there. It's all automated. And this got me like really, really excited. I'm like, wait, what is this? Yeah. And I got so excited. And so what happened was I started getting into people's funnels just to figure out how, I would get into a webinar just to see how they've structured their webinar. And so I was like, it really got me excited. And so after a while, I was like, okay, let me create my own product. And I created my own product. And so the product that I created was more of like passion to profit, helping people like figure out, what God has called them to do. And It uses this system called, borrowed the system from a Japanese concept called the Ikigai, your reason for being. And so this is where you discover what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And I'll leave a link below if you want to check it out. It's a free product. Again, I showed you the strategy where you guide people. So it's a free product and I have a GPT that I'm currently giving out for free. And you can use that GPT to be able to figure out what you have been called to do. Sometimes you connect the dots looking back. And so I do this for a living. I do brand strategy sessions where we sit down, I ask you questions, and I'm able to dig deep and figure out, what is that thing that, that really sparks joy? That's what you love. Yeah. And something that you're passionate about, something that you have been paid for, or people get paid for it. And then lastly, we start looking for a market. Um, and so I really like that concept. Most of the time, as a marketer, what we first do is we identify a need that a group of people are experiencing, and then we create a product that is going to solve that need. That's essentially the best way to create a product. You need to create a product for one audience that solves a specific problem in less than an hour. Okay. One product, one audience, 1 hour. If you do that, you are going to make a lot of money because you are at that moment, you're being a specialist. And so I learned how to do that and I created my own product. And so the next thing that was remaining was like, I need a space where I can really grow and learn the most that I can. And so I started serving at my church. And it's amazing when you use your gift um, in the house of God. Um, Doors just opened after I did that, like incredible doors. I was able to be mentored for a whole year by a 7-figure company, and I was doing marketing for them uh, by just no experience. Background is nursing, self-taught, but because I served, they saw my gift and they saw something in me that I did not fully know. And I was able to share what I had created for myself, and they were impressed. And I was given an opportunity to really, really like see behind the scenes of not only sharpening, I was able to sharpen my skill. That was one. But the other thing that was the most fascinating was I didn't even know that I needed this was mindset. Mindset. And by far, that was the most valuable thing. And it's the one thing that stops a lot of people from doing what God has called them to do. It's not a skill issue. You know exactly how to do what you do better than anyone else in the world. And I mean that because there's only you. There's only one you with experiences that you've had. Yes, it can be a skill that a lot of people know, but you're the only one who has experienced that, who has that gift, who looks like you, and who has experienced the things that you have experienced. And so that becomes so much valuable because now you're not just selling a skill, you're sharing a story of how you got there. And this is my story of how I got here. I'm sure there's so many other marketers there out there, but there's no other marketer who is as good as me because I am me. And I come with special experience. I want you to think of somebody who is a marketer who started out as a nurse and transitioned into photography and then learned how to do websites and then funnels and then automations and then now AI, and was offered coaching for a whole year by a seven-figure company. Nobody else has that story apart from me. And if there is, they don't look like me and they don't look like you. And so mindset, my God, I think it's 80% of everything. You believe in at the core of your heart that you can do this, that you are built for this, that God ordained you to be able to execute this. And nobody can compete with you. Nobody can do it the way you do it. And you just have to be bold and you just have to step out. And this is an encouragement for myself to keep going, an encouragement to you to keep going. You got this, and I'm cheering you. I am cheering you. Keep going. Keep going. And in the process of moving, you will see exactly where God wants you to go. I'm fascinated by Abraham and how it was in his movement that God showed him the mountain that he was gonna provide. I know we know that story where he's going to sacrifice his son. But the whole point about that story is obedience. Are you going to obey and step out? Even scared. I'm sure he was scared. I'm sure he was frustrated. But he valued God so much that he was like, I am going to obey. And this move in this season will require you not to even tell some people what you're about to do, because they're going to talk you out of it. I want you to be wise about it, but I want you to step out by faith and go do what God has called you to do. He loves you so much, and there's so much impact, and there's so many people who are waiting on your obedience. There's so many people who are waiting for your yes. And so this is me showing up with my gifts and my talents and doing what God has called me to do. And my role here is to help as many people discover what God has called them to do. And once I do that, help them bring that vision to life. That is the Vine Studio. And I'm excited for this new journey. I'm excited to put my mark here on earth, be a blessing to many people, pour out and share everything that I have learned so far, and hopefully partner with amazing, talented people out there. No more hiding, no more doubting. And I really like this live thing because you just record and it posts, no editing. There's no messing up. You mess up, you mess up. But I love this, and I will do more of this. Hopefully, I can pick specific topics and or even talk about anything to do with marketing, anything to do with content creation, anything with bringing your vision to life. I am so passionate about those stuff. And check us out here at Vine Media. We have a studio here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So if you're around this area, feel free to book your session. We do podcasts. We have a podcast room. We have a rental space for photography on the other side. We have a space for doing master classes, and maybe I'll show you another time. Follow me on Instagram at Vine Studio 158, and that's from John 15 verse 8. It honors God when you bear much fruit. Yeah. And we're also starting a community called the Vine Marketing Lab. So I'll put some information below. feel free to join, and we'll be talking all things marketing. I realized that a lot of small business owners have these incredible ideas, but they do not know how to market their stuff. And so I want to be able to be a blessing in that. And I've come to love to teach. One of the greatest opportunity that I got this year was to be able to teach uh, one of my clients' coaches. She has a big program for equipping coaches to coach others. And I was able to, to teach them all things content creation. And I just fell in love with teaching. And so I'm in my teaching era. At least I feel like I have something to contribute to the world. And I want to encourage you to know that you have so much that the world needs. And so uh, I think it's a blessing that others can gain valuable knowledge from your experiences. And so looking forward to that. Yes, all the links will be linked below. I hope to do this as often as possible. I like going live. I think this is easier than, recording a video, having to edit it. So I've really enjoyed this. Um, yeah, it just feels like I'm talking to someone like I trust on the other side. And so, yes, this was amazing. See you soon. I don't know when, but it's going to be soon, and this is going to be more frequent. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. And yeah, subscribe if you're not subscribed to this channel. You are created to create. Peace. Bye.